Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to DC World. I'm Paul Edwards, and tonight we're with a very special guest, Waseem. He's here. You may not recognise him. You may recognise him as a BBC presenter. Gadget Man is also going to be in the new Pennyworth Series 3. Plus, he's doing some cool charity work as well, which is why we're on here tonight to chat with him. And welcome. Oh, we may have lost.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's a really great honour to be with you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I know we've been trying to get this going for a few weeks with timings, and we're finally here. Tell some of our audience, the DC world that's out there, a bit about yourself, your background, and where you've come from to now.
I guess you could describe it as an unconventional entry into acting. I started off as a trainee broadcast journalist with the BBC in the east of England. And that's where I learnt my trade as a journalist, after naturally doing a degree in journalism at university in Lincoln. And so for 8 years, I was a presenter on what was then called the 8 p.m. News Summary, which was a short news bulletin designed for young people and working professionals who didn't really have time to catch up with the main bulletins of the day on BBC One. And so each BBC English region, 13 of them in total, would have their own presenter and their own team presenting this short, sort of BBC Three style of news.
Okay.
Short, sharp, to the point, followed by a bit of the weather as well for the next day. And so I did that for 8 years, and that in itself was great because it taught me the importance of telling a story. And so I guess acting came naturally after that. I threw myself into acting training at drama school, and it was great that I landed such a big opportunity with Pennyworth so quickly after finishing that.
This guy.
Yeah.
So
it was just a dream, absolute dream, to be involved with that, because never did I imagine that I'd be at Leatherstone Studios, the home of such fantastic films, just steeped in so much history at the backlot, the legendary backlot. I still get goosebumps just mentioning that word. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? But it was a day, that when I got the call from the agent to say, yeah, you've got it, it was just, one of those moments that you just will never forget.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. You're living the dream, like the inner child we've all got, and you're getting to live some of it, which is amazing to see some cool stuff going on in there. So that's so awesome. Now, season 3 of Pennyworth is coming. I can't believe season 3's. I've not even done season 2 yet, so I'm well behind. Anything you could tell us, any little tidbits or the story coming up to this, or a little bit about your character?
Yeah, I can sort of tell you that my role is not too dissimilar to what I used to do. And so, it did come naturally to me. And I think that will give the sense of realism in the storyline as well, because there's a lot going on in season 3. If you've been watching all of season 2, you will know what a cliffhanger the season ends on. I don't really want to give away the spoilers even of season 2, because I know lots of friends, they're catching up on season 2 in readiness for season 3. But I can tell you a little bit about the general idea. The Cold War is over, that sort of so-called Cold War in a sort of a dystopian setting of London. That's all over, and we've moved on in forwards in time, basically. And with that new decade, we've got a new power in control of the country. And so it's really interesting to have a look at how that dynamic has really changed from season 1 all the way to season 3. And I think there'll be plenty of surprises going forward that you will not have expected. And I think this is going to be the best season of all of them. In fact, from what I have read, and I've obviously been a part of, the storyline just gets better and better. And I cannot believe some of the things that people are going to witness. And people would not be ready for that, I promise you. I certainly wasn't when I read through the script. it's so
it must be hard for you. You can't tell us certain things.
And I've been telling stories for years, and my lips are sort of almost sealed. But I can give you those hints of how the world has moved on since season 2 massively. There's been a big change, and things will get really exciting.
There's quite a cast in this, as there has been from the beginning, and of course Paloma Faith is one of the biggest ones in there. Have you met Paloma? I thought I see a picture of you, and she's behind you. No.
Oh no, that was not me. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to meet her. No, that was not her. That was I think that photo with somebody else was another actress on another show
that I
filmed.
I couldn't tell. I was like,
yes, that's right, the COVID mask, and it was literally filmed 1 month before my role on Pennyworth. But I can't really even say who that was. But I think it gives it away. If you have a look on my Instagram, you will see who that is. She's really lovely. She's really lovely. But the entire team on Pennyworth was just superb. John East, one of my favourite directors of TV series. He was just fabulous. His team and Jill, so many people to mention, from first AD, second AD, and all the way through makeup and hair artist professionals. They were just so welcoming to me. Somebody that, that's really professional. And when I remember, it was such a cold, bitterly cold week. I don't know if you remember, in November, it was literally like ice everywhere. And we were outdoors filming on the back lot. And if you just imagine the back lot being this vast open space with lots of artificial set that have been constructed purely to resemble London, 1970s London in this season. And you can imagine the cold, biting wind. We had to be given these special warming devices for our hands and our feet and our insoles, just so that we could keep going. It was just so challenging. But I always think back and think, well, if you can handle those kind of elements on a challenging shoot like that, you can probably handle anything. But I don't want to give too much away of what happens in that scene. But I think, and we were well looked after, all the cast and crew. We had lots and lots of hot food and hot buffets and hot drinks just to keep us going, because it was bitterly cold. To the point where the wind was just blowing straight in my eyes constantly during the shoot. And I remember wondering to myself, is it really the cold wind that is making me feel teary-eyed, or is it the fact that there's hundreds of people around me in every direction, and they are the crew making this masterpiece of a season for TV viewers? And I was just a bit emotional as well, thinking about that.
It's so cool. It's so cool. You as a fan of comic books or TV and film, etc., that's more my side, the TV, film and everything. Are you a fan of DC, Marvel, or are you mainly like a mixture of both, and you just like the genres?
I would obviously say DC. But yeah, I've always been a massive DC fan. And I guess with Marvel, it's been more of a recent thing, but I've begun to get really into it. But DC was my first sort of big interest. Growing up, it was always Batman and Superman, and a fantastic stuff that people like Snyder have done. And it's just iconic stuff. And but very recently, I've been widening my horizons, so to speak. But I think great things can happen when these two worlds come together.
Definitely.
And I hope that there'll be more opportunities for those two zones to come together. And I think it will be great for everybody. Great for the whole genre as well.
I don't see this is going to last for years. This ain't going anywhere. They're already planning phases for Marvel. DC have got new stuff. We've got Black Adam in a month or two. We've got Shazam at Christmas next year. We've got Aquaman 2. back
It's
there.
so exciting.
Oh my God, there's so much coming. I love, like a child, you know, when you plan what's coming, it's like, this has still got a few years, and then next year they'll announce the new stuff for coming. It's just good time.
It is a very good time, especially after such a challenging period with COVID. And it's so good to be back out there doing productions and a bit more freer as well in the creative process, definitely. Yes, and that does help because it means you get a better end quality product, and that is the case that everybody's going to see with season 3, I am sure. Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous with what you know and what we don't know. But in a few months or so, we'll all know. So, you do a lot of charity work. So I'm going to plug a lot of this video now onto the charity. Tell us all the details on that, what you're doing, fundraising, what it's for, etc., especially for the kids. And of course, as your quote says, it's like the kids need saving. It's like Bruce Wayne protecting Gotham. He raises money, and this is exactly what you're trying to do yourself as well.
Yeah, that's right. As you might have guessed, I'm a bit sweaty and whatever, but that's because I'm at my health club. And just before coming on with you, I had completed my training for the day. And it's all to do with a charity that approached me earlier in the year asking if I would become their ambassador. This is a charity called Embrace Child Victims of Crime, and their work, it basically helps children who've become the victims of crime through no fault of their own, or have grown up in an environment surrounded or witnessing crime, and that's had an impact on them. And it provides emotional support and help to them. And it's a charity that I was immediately drawn to, and I immediately said yes, because it was headquartered, and it is headquartered in my birth town, Peterborough, in Cambridgeshire, which is about 80 miles north of London. And it just struck home to me why their work is so important. I was born myself on an area in England which was for many decades labelled Britain's worst estate, essentially, and there was lots of crime around me. That kind of. I only had a short period of my life there before, thankfully, I was out of there. But for those that remain, especially children, life can be really difficult, and they can be impacted forever, literally, without the right support, without the right guidance. And that's where the work of Embrace comes in. And so I'm just really over the moon to be able to raise awareness about what they do and why it's so important. So, yeah, I think the work of the charity is so important. It's something that isn't really focused on a lot in our society, and Embrace Child Victims of Crime really does fill a massive gap and a hole in services that are available for young children who happen to have been affected by crime. And it's run by people formerly from police services, from local authorities, from social workers, and they all work together with multi-agencies to try and help children. So they take referrals from the police, from social care, from teachers in schools, who can then signpost children who might be vulnerable and help them out. You know, and it's so coincidental, isn't it, that, you know, in the mythology of the Batman series and Pennyworth, it's all related to young Bruce Wayne, who himself was a victim of crime growing up in that fictitious story. And yet he had somebody that was able to guide him, somebody that was able to help him, which was, of course, Alfred Pennyworth. But not everybody is as lucky as Bruce Wayne. And so that's why it's so important for me to be able to use this new platform of the work with the charity to try and raise awareness about getting more real life superheroes for children growing up, and maybe something positive can come out of something so terrible that a lot of children face in the UK.
Yeah. Oh wow. Tell us a little bit what you're going to do a run. So are you doing the run, or are you doing a run soon? And then there's some charity stuff going on.
Yeah. So I decided that I was going to do the Royal Half Marathon, the Royal Parks Half Marathon in London, which is on October, the second week of October. And so, thank you very much. Yeah, my first ever marathon, or half marathon even. In fact, it's my first ever kind of long distance running.
Yeah,
I think
still long,
even
still
more
long.
than it's still long, isn't it? 13.1 miles. I keep reminding myself every day. But it's been a challenge trying to train for it, but I've been slowly building it up every day. And there have even been moments where I should have had a rest day, and I've ploughed through because time is so short. And I only started end of April, my training. So, it's all full steam ahead at the moment. The charity gave me a lovely race jersey. And I've been wearing that while doing my treadmill training as well as outdoors in the parks. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for October to roll by. And obviously, please, everybody watching, do donate, because every penny goes direct to Embrace Child Victims of Crime, and they really need your help to run the 24/7 call centre out of the headquarters in Cambridgeshire for all of the UK. To keep that service going, they need vital donations, and so hopefully my target is to raise at least £2,000 to help them out. And I hope that by running this October in the Royal Half Marathon, I'll be able to help them out in my small way.
Well, I really hope once we get this out in the next couple of days, hope some of the DC World fan base and others will get behind this. Hopefully get some donations. Fingers crossed, everyone. Don't let me down. So a massive worthy cause. Waseem, where can everyone donate? Is there a website we can go to?
Yeah.
Is it your social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can obviously follow me, guys, at Instagram.com/ the Waseem Mirza, TheWaseemMirza. And there is a link on there to go to my Just Giving page, and that will link straight through. I did start experimenting with a way directly to do donations through Instagram, but I think it's easier if people get the link straight from my bio on Instagram. That'll take you through to the Just Giving page, and then every penny goes direct to Embrace Child Victims of Crime.
Oh, brilliant. I'll get all the links added under this video as well once it goes on YouTube and our social media. So I'll go and grab all your links. We'll get them all in there, and hopefully generate some for this worthy cause. And Waseem Mirza, keep an eye for him, everyone. He's going to be in Pennyworth, season 3, coming to our screens very soon, and you've heard from him already. It's going to be very epic season this season. Waseem Mirza, I've got to say a massive thank you. Good luck with the run. Keep us posted. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. It's really a pleasure.
Not a problem. I wish you all the best. And hope it goes really well, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.